2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again on day 5 of the first World Spa and Wellness online convention. But it is day 6 of the PB Virtual Beauty Week, thanks to the fantastic efforts of the whole PB team here in the UK and Mark Maloney co-hosting this panel. Today, we will be touching on stories of hope and resiliency in the face of catastrophes. Clearly, the time of unprecedented uncertainty that we're facing, this craziness, it's really changing completely our orientation, and we're looking for answers. But so far, in the past few years, our panelists have been facing hurricanes, tornadoes, and facing the loss of completely everything they've built and having to rebuild over and over. So we will be learning from today from Stephanie Rest, the founder of Caribbean Wellness and Education based in Miami, USA. Virginie Fliegans, spa director, currently opening a spa in Paris, France. Tricia Greenaway, founder of Wellness Footprints in Antigua. And Mitchel Rivera, CEO of Cloud Spa in Puerto Rico. And my name is Jean-Guy de Gabriac, and I am the founder of World Wellness Weekend. Let's start with you, Mitchel, because I'd like directly to hit it face on and hear about your toughest moment when facing a catastrophe. How did you care for your team when you had to close due to the hurricanes in Puerto Rico?
Jean-Guy, thank you very much. Welcome everyone. It's a pleasure, honor to be here. Can you hear me?
Indeed. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Hello?
Yes, Mitchell, we can hear you.
Hello. Perfect. It's a pleasure to be here. Puerto Rico has been faced with a lot of challenges throughout the last couple of years, and especially in the disaster zone. When Hurricane Maria hit, we never expected for it to be a magnitude 6 category hurricane, and for it to storm as it did. Many people that have not lived through it, the scary part is not the hurricane, the scary part is the aftermath. After the hurricane hit, all our communications were down, and our power and water were also down. So how do you connect with your employees? How do you connect with your staff? I found that the best way to connect with my staff was to stand in front of my business days after the hurricane had happened, and immediately familiar faces started showing up. And as they started showing up and coming up to the spa and saying, "What's the plan?" I really quickly that we had to do something, and we had to open something. So our spa is located in the tourist area, and we are partnered with the DoubleTree by Hilton. And we were very lucky enough that their power plants and generators were fully on working, and they gave us a spot at the gym, the hotel's gym. So we had a day to turn a gym into a spa and offer as many services as we could, and start to look into what was the need of the clients. So most of our clients had no power, had no water. So immediately hairdressers were completely booked. We set up a little massage room that was also very important because the stress levels were very high. And we started, the key element for our survival at that point was really word of mouth. There was no phone lines, so we couldn't call our database. But everybody started connecting, and the word of really grew really quickly. And everybody was connected through somebody they knew that was telling them that we were operating. Another really fun fact was that our spa did not suffer any damages. So it was mostly the fact that we had no power, and that our elevators had actually broken during the hurricane, there was a water leakage. So shortly after, not even 10 days after, we got power back, but no elevators for over 3 months. So in a fifth floor of a hotel, and our guest had to come relax with us going up five stories of stairs. So understanding that the service was there, but we weren't offering 100% of our service was also very interesting, because the clients never complained. The employees were happy to work. At that point of that disaster, we were just blessed and happy to be able to go back to normal as much as you could.
Were there any other learnings obviously people are very worried about how the virus is going to impact on their business. Is there anything that you might have learned that you could share regarding that?
Mitchel? Any further insights?
Yes. The learnings, I think, in natural disasters, the learnings in a natural disaster is really, understanding that everything will pass, that you have to be creative in time of needs. Instead of blocking ideas, be open to try new stuff and understand that your clients will be able to hop on that thing with you and move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's hear it from Virginie, because very surprisingly, you had a similar experience, but it was in Polynesia. And the most surprising story is, what was the element of the hotel and resort that was put back first by the general manager in such a time of crisis when hit by a hurricane?
Thanks, Jean-Guy. Yeah, that was in 2010 that we had the cyclone Oli, who devastated totally our hotel. And surprisingly, the hotel manager decided first to rehabilitate the swimming pool. So we were all so surprised why to rehabilitate the swimming pool. And in fact, though it seemed incongruous to us at first, this decision helped us to go through the trauma, because during the entire day, we were spending our day to secure all the items, so to rescue TV, spoons, everything. And our day, thanks to this decision, were rhythm with, of course, tears, because we were sad to lose our hotel, and laugh. But most importantly, we ended our day at the swimming pool every single day. And I never thought that this decision can help us to sort of enjoy this moment and create even more link and boundaries between all of us.
It was a clever way to cope and to find some emotional resiliency among the team, right?
Definitely. So that's what Mitchel say. It's so important to think outside the box. And for me, the hotel manager at that point, they really thought outside the box by doing first the rehabilitation of the swimming pool.
What other learnings would you suggest that you found? I mean, that's a great example. You've been through this disaster. What could you give any tips for anybody now facing the devastation of their business, or certainly temporary because it's closed? What would you say to these people?
So first is that, as we say since the beginning of the week, it's that everything will pass, and this will pass as well. So it's important to step back, and we had some good talk during the entire week. It's so important to step back, analyze from a little bit ahead the situation, so that you are more allowed. I mean, you are in better shape, let's say, to take great decision. So it's important to sit and to see the situation for a little bit ahead so that you can take great decision, and surround yourself with people. Don't stay alone. Communication is the key for everything. So with your peers, with your guests, with your family, with everything, but just important to surround yourself with people.
I know Stephanie and Tricia, you might not have had the same sort of disaster, but would one of you like to comment on how you think you're going to come out of this, and any advice for people? Who wants to go first, Stephanie or Trish? All right, Tricia. Unmute yourself. Yeah, I think we've got you now.
Okay. Yes.
Hi.
Definitely coming out of this, it will be a more open mind setting. We definitely now being placed on a 24-hour lockdown. For most of us, we never had this total isolation. So it will help us now to be a lot more grounded, a lot more focused, and, you know, like a clearer path to what we need to do to help others, because, you know, as a wellness professional, a lot of people are depending on us for our strength and our, you know, guidance. So it gives us that clarity of the needs of how to balance people emotionally, physically, mentally, you know. So it's be like a general thing that now they will tap into us a little bit more than just a physical touch. That's a lot of people has been calling for, you know, ideas of how to be at home and feel like you're in the spa still. So I was able to help them to create that atmosphere at home to encompass wellness, to create that peace, that tranquility, that meditation mode, that room that gives you that aromatherapy smell and feel to relaxation. So definitely it's a little broader panel for me to help people in many different ways.
Thank you. I want to get on to something perhaps more practical, and again start with you, Mitchel. How did you organise your reopening? You know, with your associates, clients, your partners, the travel agents, tour operators. How did you begin to restart? Mitchel? Can you hear me? Mitchel, can you respond? Are we hearing you?
Stephanie, can you hear us? You have a good connection?
Yes.
Oh, Mitchel, you're back.
Carry on, Mitchel. We're missing you.
It's very interesting, but after this hard plan, we all understand that.
I think. Sorry, Mitchel.
Can you hear me?
Now we'll try once more.
Hurricane Maria, we really had no, because we weren't expecting the magnitude of we had.
I think we
It's really
Mitchel, I think we're going to have to.
I see.
I'll try one.
Right.
Stephanie, are you unmuted? Can you hear us?
I think Virginie, I'm going to ask you. You've been in a lot of different business. How would you think you're going to organize your reopening?
That's a good one, as our hotel is not open yet. So I will say that I'm a lucky one. We are preparing an opening, so it's totally different. However, if the business was already in, the first thing, as I said before, was really that the communication is the key. It's really important to maintain the link with your team, with your guests, the members, if you have members. and to keep them engaged. So I know that a lot of speakers talked about that, and it's so important. Now with those days, we have a lot of platform. We have Zoom, GoToMeeting that we can use. You can do some live videos, live tuto, live coaching. You can do tips and tricks, recipes from all around the world. So it's important to be creative. There is no limit. It's important to get your team engaged by doing this video. When your team is engaged and they stay engaged, it will help your guests and members to know your team better as well. And as I just said before, during this time that we are facing, for once we really have this time to connect, to reconnect, the time to think, the time to do all the things that we keep postponing because of lack of time. So it's maybe a good opportunity to do some brainstorming with your team. You can also have people from other departments. If you are working in an hotel, in an hotel spa, and you can ask some of your loyal guests to join you during this session as well. I'm sure they will come up with a lot of ideas. So it's always a good thing to brainstorm with different people. Of course, if you're not already done that, it's important to have an updated inventory, to create the list of all the products who have a close expiring date. Now is the time to sell them at cost. It's even a little bit too late if you are closed, but if you can sell them at cost plus the taxes, transportation to your staff, the family who have, they will be happy with this solution. And for yourself, you will get rid of a bunch of unusable products. And of course, if you want to give this to charity, pensioners, orphanage, go for it. Everyone will be happy to have some of our products. For my side, as the hotel is not open yet, we have a lot of questions, and the most important, I think, it's we need to rethink the way how we are doing spa. With this crisis, the few questions will be: what will be the new warm way to greet our colleagues, to greet our guests, our members? Is this social distance the new caring way of greeting? How should we adapt our SOPs? Should we have a checklist in each common space to ensure guests that the place is sanitized every 30 minutes? It's already done in public toilets in the airport. So should we do the same in the spa now? Should we have sanitized gel, disinfectant wipes visible in every treatment room? Should we wear a glove mask for all the treatments? I know that a few speakers talked about that as well. So it will be interesting to see what's happening in China as they start to reopen. Should we have disposable outfit to put on top of our uniform that will be changed after each guest, like nurses? What will be the new spa trends? So we talked a lot about mindfulness. So what will be the guest demand? How it will evolve this? What will be our new amenity offer? Should we continue with a basket full of apple, dry fruits on a bowl? Should we go with individual dosage? And of course, with all that, what will be the ecologic, economic impact of all these different changes? So that will be really important to look at, and I'm excited to see how everything will come.
No, and you make a point of hygiene. We're going to have to be very mindful of guests' perception of that, and whether, clearly we're going to have to demonstrate an action extra on the hygienic side. And you talked about disposable uniforms or disposable masks and so forth. Whether we need to go that route, we have to be very mindful of our guests' expectations. I'm going to try again with Mitchel. We couldn't hear you at all, Mitchel. Let's try another time. Particularly how you can organise your reopening and with your clients and associates. Your signal is green. Let's see. Thank you.
I changed to cell phone. So again, a pleasure to be here. After the disaster of Maria, there was no plan. We had never experienced in the island a catastrophe of that magnitude where phone lines, electricity was damaged to a severity that it took months and months to rebuild. And still today, they just patched it. They had no chance to really fix or reinvent the way that the electricity was served. However, my key element in reopening was really word of mouth. Word of mouth, going back to the time of our ancestors, really letting everybody know that sharing that the spa was open, that the spa was offering services, especially in a time of need. Because imagine not having power or water in your house and knowing there was one place where you could go take a warm shower, one place where you could get your hair washed. So we really focused more on the salon side than the spa. However, we did have one spa room set up really quickly in order to be able to fulfill that stress level, to start getting that under control, that wellness component. Once we got back to our original facilities, really understanding that we weren't going to be able to offer full services, that we were going to be lacking probably materials, that we were going to be lacking experiences, and really understanding that a new breed of customer was born. A new breed of clients and a new breed of staff was born out of disaster because they were willing to forgive, they were willing to look the other side and happy that we were there.
I think that's really interesting in that I think customers, if we approach it in an open way, will be forgiving as long as there's honesty, integrity, and good communication. That's what you're saying. Sorry, Jean-Guy, over to you.
Thank you very much. I have a question for Tricia, actually, because the Caribbean is depending heavily on the high season, and the high season is now, and now there's a travel ban. So if it had happened in low season, at least you would have had all the revenues of the high season to compensate. And right now you were just recovering from the two hurricanes that you had recently. So please let us know about the situation in Antigua and also in the Caribbean.
Okay. Hello all again. Yes, definitely. We were just beginning at the peak of our high season. Our high season in the Caribbean solely starts December 15th and runs to around May in Antigua. The unfortunate part of this epidemic that it hit us in March, early March, where we were solely dependent on international travelers. And the ban of all the different international airports had already started a slow effect on us here in the Caribbean, especially for me here in Antigua. And what we found happening, the clients who we had in the hotel at the current time were more focusing on how they're going to get back and how they're going to restructure what's going to happen when they get back. We mainly cater for a lot of on the more mature side of clients. So the spa wasn't really their priority at that time. So I had to be very creative, putting out different specials for them to get in. And then when the staff realized what was happening, because, the income is being severely affected, because, as I said, we had only 2 months within our peak season to do any kind of a revenue saver. But we just went into mode where we realized at this point, we just have to work with what we have. And then we also have to build ourselves mentally to prepare how we're going to come out of it. I shift focus to let them understand safety was the first and foremost. If we're healthy, we can make our clients healthy. If we're healthy, we can come back and make everyone healthy. So we just started to work with the hotels to close all the properties, to prepare the spa for closure. And then I just had some times that we all sit together, pray together, and we plan what we're going to do to come back out of it. Where there's a will, there will be a hope. So although the finances really hit, we have the willpower to come back. We have done it before after the hurricane, so I just have to keep reassuring them we will continue to do it. Now, the opening has a lot to do with the type of travelers we're going to have coming our way next, and how soon the international ports are going to be open to let customers come back to the Caribbean. The beauty about it, what I look at, the Caribbean is not hit as major as the US and Europe. So I'm hoping that the Caribbean is actually being poised to have these first burst of travelers coming back to our shores for all the beautiful vitamin D and the ocean water, just for a place of serenity and safety. So I am just looking at it as a positive line, that we are still offering the pure vitamin D, the sunshine, the warmth, and the friendliness. So we're doing everything in the Caribbean or in Antigua right now to keep the numbers very low. So we're on a 24-hour lockdown, which is, trying to eradicate as much as possible. That's where we stand. So although our finance is severely impacted, we have health, we have hope, we can work towards bringing it back.
Especially because you're on an island and you are severely depending on imports.
The imports, most of our things come out of the U.S. The imports is slow right now. It's only essential stuff coming into the island. I mean, because it was high season, we were blessed that we had a good back bar stock. So most of the spa directors and spa operators do have a good shelf life of right now stocking products. The only disadvantage is the expiration time in one, and how soon this will happen, because for us, we have no idea. I'm hoping that we can have another 6 weeks, but if it happens in the middle of our hurricane season, God forbid, that's another challenge we're going to be facing with, because we start hurricane season very soon. So it's just a watch, wait, and see right now, and hope. The ports are open in Antigua, but they open for essential foods and medical supplies. So it's just a time, wait, watch, and see.
Yes, thank you very much, Tricia. Stephanie, if you can unmute yourself, because as the founder of Caribbean Wellness and Education, you are in contact with everyone in the Caribbeans, through associations, through operators, and God knows that the Caribbeans really need the tourists, but also the cruise ships. And right now, cruise ships are having a real hard time. What is your take on what's happening?
For sure. Thank you for having me, first of all. Good morning to everybody. Yeah.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
It's interesting because I would say I think there's a delay. I apologize.
It's okay.
Okay. So, the Caribbean is the most resilient region, I think, in the world. It seems every year we're plagued with something, be it hurricanes, tsunamis even, earthquakes. Like Mitchel recently on his island, they got through the twin sisters, which we call Irma and Maria, that happened about 3 years ago. And a destination like Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands are just now rebounding and about to have their first real season in a couple of years. So something like this is catastrophic. And, we haven't seen the curve in sight yet for the coronavirus. So it's very unsettling times for everyone around the world. 12 million travelers take an excursion by cruise ship a year annually to the islands. Those travelers are the people that spend the money in the small businesses, so the restaurants, the night guests that we're seeing impacted from the airplanes. But the positive news is there are very few cases, like Tricia mentioned. So I do think when people are ready to travel again, the Caribbean is going to be a very attractive location for people to return to.
Stephanie, are you on lockdown at the moment?
I was traveling in California prior, kind of when this was first starting. They were realizing on the West Coast, they were listening to China. It was hitting California. It was hitting Washington State. And those were both two states I had just spent a lot of time in. So I did self-quarantine for 2 weeks, and I am taking precautions and staying home for the most part.
But are the spas, Tricia and Stephanie, are the spas in the Caribbean on lockdown at the moment? Are they actually open?
Hello?
Go on then, Tricia. Unmute, Tricia.
Good. Sorry. Most hotels have been closed for the last 2 weeks in Antigua, and the entire island is on a 24-hour lockdown.
As well as, Tricia, I think you're on mute.
No, I'm off. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we are. We are hearing you.
Okay. Yes. Sorry.
Tricia is live.
I apologize. Yes. Most hotels, all hotels in Antigua have been closed for the last 2 weeks, and all spas have been closed. We are deemed as non-essential, so we were one of the first to be closed. And the island itself is on a 24-hour lockdown. So we're definitely homebound.
Stephanie, thank you, Tricia. Stephanie, back to you. We've just seen you disappear. I don't know if you. We're going to try you anyway. In Europe, the cruise industry, unfortunately, has a very bad reputation.
Live streaming.
In terms we're having technical.
Hi, guys.
I'm sorry, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
recording on my laptop because I have a
You anyway.
Okay. So
In Europe,
the cruise industry
streaming.
has had issues of perception because obviously illnesses on the boats, which we're not blaming the industry for, but unfortunately they've been caught up on. Some people are suggesting that it might take the industry a while to get that business back. So how would you see, even if the lockdown is ended, the restart plan happening? How would you be looking at your restart plan?
It's going to be a tough one. I think that, everyone is going to be mentally impacted. We've been self-isolating, taking extra precautions. We want to stay 6 feet away from each other. Cruise ships, hotels, spas aren't really conducive to that. We're all about touch and being together and being with our guests. So I think even once travel starts again, the trend we're hearing now is that people are going to stay closer to home. They're going to do road trips. They're going to potentially not be taking cruise travel trips or going overseas.
Yeah. So what would you do? What would you suggest to operators in the Caribbean?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? There's a little.
What would you suggest in practical terms to operators in the Caribbean?
I think that your local communities are going to be your bread and butter. Kind of what we see in any time of tragedy is that we kind of have to rely on each other and come together and know we're all in this together. But until we see overnight travel and cruise ship travel and things like that, it's going to take some time. So right now, I think it's minimizing, focusing on your expenses, keeping your mental health well, checking out the stimulus packages that your government is offering. The U.S., I know, has a substantial one that Mitchell should apply for. So small business association loans, payroll protection. I know some of the islands are looking at what the U.S. and other governments are offering and creating their own packages. Something else I would suggest is take a hard look at your inventory. In times of crisis, when we can't control our revenue, the only thing we can do is control our expenses and try to take care of our teams and keep them in a positive place while we ride this out.
Mitchell, thank you, Stephanie. Mitchell, you touched on things that you did. You opened, when you're through the last crisis, you opened different parts of the building and different parts of your facilities, and customers were very understanding. How are you going to operate now? What do you think how are you going to restart, and in what way?
So to your point earlier, rebranding our brand and our existence as wellness institutes is going to be very important. Puerto Rico has been in the forefront of prevention. I think we're one of the earliest adapters because we shut down the island March 14th at 6 p.m. Our original quarantine for the island was up to March 30th, and on March 30th, our governor extended 2 more weeks of lockdown and increased the restrictions for the community, even applying restrictions based on your driver's license ending numbers. So days that you could and could not leave the house, even if it was for groceries or medical needs. So we are all experiencing for the first time an epidemic that is really targeting the globe. We're all in it together. And I think that the one thing that as a team we need to figure out is how are we going to regain the confidence of touch? How are we going to regain the confidence of healing? Because that is what is our mission primarily, to heal. And through touch, we get to approach that side. As a Puerto Rican and our Latin culture, hugs and kisses are our main bread and butter. So understanding that that is the first limitation of this virus is really going against our own, blood. So moving forward, yes, I think that businesses will open slowly. I think that even in Puerto Rico, the week before lockdown, movie theaters started blocking chairs. So if you wanted to go to a movie, and I actually went with my daughters, there were 3 empty seats between each family. That was a week before the epidemic even started, like really grasping. So even the movie theater industry started understanding that 300 people in one space was not healthy enough. So the same way we'll have to do in our businesses, we'll have to limit the amount of guests per hour. And at one point, we're going to have to really look into if it's even operationally feasible. Is it worth to be open for 4 clients? Is it worth to be open for 2 clients? And that's also going to impact our.
Yeah. So what you're saying is we have to, some businesses, quite as we touched yesterday, some businesses really have to look a hard look at whether it is worthwhile opening. Jean-Guy, over to you. Thank you, Mitchell.
Thank you very much. We're approaching the end of our session. Hello, hello. I hope I'm unmuted.
Yeah, carry on.
So sorry for the very poor connection today. It was kind of smooth this week, but anyway, we have 5 more minutes before we have to switch off for the next session. And I'd love to hear it from Tricia, Mitchel, and Virginie, and maybe we'll have a short conclusion from Stephanie after. But a question from Scotland. We have Katrina, and she would like to hear from you with your teams. How do you show your appreciation to your teams in situations like this? Tricia, with the wellness, in Antigua, and Mitchel with your team in Puerto Rico, and Virginie back when you were in Polynesia and the hurricane came in and destroyed everything in 24 hours. You still had clients on property that you had to ship back home, and you had the staff. How did you all show appreciation to your team?
Would you like me to go first?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, the appreciation at the time, what we did when we had we were still open, we just bonded together, and it was literally the prayers and the camaraderie that we had for each other. And above anything else, I remember one day when I said to my staff, when management came to me from the hotel and said, the numbers are failing, we can't make it until the end of March. And I saw the sadness on everyone's face, and I just grabbed everyone together. And we just literally bumped elbow and we prayed. And we said, there's nothing we can do at this time but just stay connected with each other and encourage each other. And then we had a big alarm when everyone was hoarding foods and essential stuff. And the simplest thing I did that week was get a care package for my staff of sanitizer, toilet papers, just a basic essential, just to say, hey, protect yourself, take care of yourself, and then we'll be protected to help others. And it went a long way. We have a group now that we stay in touch with each other every day. What are my plans for the next coming week once the ban is lifted, that we can move around a little bit more, is to drop essential food items to my staff. There are a lot of farmers that have abundance in produce because the hotels are not open anymore. So I'll buy in bulk and just distribute to my staff. So for now, it's just keeping them healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally is my priority right now. So whenever we are open back up, they will be ready to be a part of the unity and the strength of bringing that team back together.
Tricia, thank you so very much for your
them right now.
Yeah, thank you so very much for your powerful experience and insights. Not only are you a powerful lady in Antigua with the wellness footprints, but also as a World Wellness Weekend ambassador. So thank you for showing the right way forward.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Mitchel,
thanks for
please,
having me.
in about 1 minute, how do you show how do you show to your team that you care right now in this time of uncertainty in Puerto Rico? And Virginie, we'll hear it from you.
Well, like Tricia said, when we went through Maria, the major need was really power and water. So the staff was allowed to shower on premise. The staff, we did a weekly, daily washing machine run where everybody could bring essentials. And I think that at that time, that was the best way to care for them. In the present situation, it's a little bit harder. We've kept payroll because we had already run through 2 weeks of business and we were able to pay, which I think is important in this time. Also, we have a WhatsApp group where we share all of the government aid and available resources through it. We also try to keep connected daily, as Tricia said. I think communication is key in this time.
So I will jump in as Tricia and Mitchel says. I'm so much agree. In Boa Boa was the same. So I mean, it was a bit different as we need to evacuate the guests, and we had the good chance to have the pool and to have cold chambers that we need to empty. So we had gorgeous lunch and dinner, all the team together. And as Tricia says as well, it was just about bonding with your team, sharing with them, sharing good moments, that's the most important, and be here, be present. Not only for the good moment, but during this tough moment. It's important that they know that they can reach you anytime and they can ask you any of the questions. It's important to be honest. When you don't have the answer, you don't have it. When you have it, share it if you can. I think that's most important. Bonding and be honest with your team.
Virginie, would you? I think we'll all agree with your sentiments there. You're about to open the spa. Is there any? Do you think the world's going to change when you open in Paris? What's going to change from a European perspective, if at all, or if only in the short term?
It's really a good question and tough one at the same time. I don't know yet when we will open, so I cross my fingers that we will open when everyone will be ready again to hug, kiss, because we are Latin and we love that, as Mitchel says. So hopefully we will open at that time. Definitely we will need to change things in the short term in terms of SOPs and cleaning stuff. I mean, I don't know yet how it will change and what will be all the impact. As Anna says, Bergman, and they are doing this hashtag at home with six senses. I think that will, of course, grow as well. So should we go on that way as well? I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I think there are so many waves. So I don't know which one we will take and how it will be. But at the moment, as I say just before, it's important to step ahead and have an entire look on the situation. I have the good fortune not to be in an open hotel and open spa. So I think we have time to see that coming and to take the good decision when it will be time for that.
Thank you. I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, I have to end it there. We are past our time. Stephanie Rest, Virginie Fliegans, Tricia Greenaway, and Mitchel Rivera, thank you very much. Time has flown. I hope to perhaps reconnect with you, some of you on a clearer line in the next few weeks. We'll be continuing this. And from all of us at Professional Beauty, World Spa and Wellness, and of course, your co-host, Jean-Guy de Gabriac, thank you very much. All the best to you all.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.